Steve Pechenik, and this is Steve Talks. Hello, this is Dr. Pechenik. Today I want to talk about Afghanistan and Pakistan. The issue is not something that's recent, nor is it a problem with Trump. It's been a problem for the United States for over 50 years, and I'm going to be glancing down at my chart and the map in order for you to follow what I'm about to say. The war between Pakistan and Afghanistan has been going on for some time. Both countries are what we call failed states. That means they don't have a civil society. That means the judicial system is not in place. That also means they're completely corrupt. What do I mean by Afghanistan? Afghanistan was around for hundreds, if not thousands of years. It's consisting of several tribes, Urdu, Pashtun, Iranian, many from the Central Asia, and they really have no centralized control. In 20, 30 years ago, we put in a delicatessen owner by the name of Karzai. He was put in by Zalmay Khalilzad, a neocon who's from Afghanistan, and he was put into power. That was a false narrative and a false position. And in effect, what happened is we had total corruption, and still do there, because of the incredible amount that poppies seeds grow here, and 99 to 100% of all heroin and marijuana comes out of Afghanistan all over the world, through Central Asia, into Europe, and back into the United States. So we have a totally corrupt institution that was created by the CIA, by Zalmay Khalilzad, and it doesn't function. On the other hand, we have an equally corrupt institution, which doesn't function either. It is totally corrupt. It's also been in place by the CIA, because they created an institution called the Inter-Service Intelligence Agency, and in turn, in the 9/11 false flag, the neocons and Bush and Cheney created the false narrative that we have Al-Qaeda and Taliban and ISIS and all this nonsense about war on terror, which never existed. There is no such thing as war on an emotion, and certainly not war on terror. The Taliban, who consisted of Pakistan and also in Afghanistan, were also primary Sunni tribesmen who tried to control the poppy fields but were not very effective. They were also completely corrupt. Pakistan is completely corrupt. There is no central government. It is a Sunni nation. I knew one of the founders, General Yaqub Khan, who warned me about 9/11 because his generals were in charge. I also unfortunately knew Benazir Bhutto, who was one of the presidents of Pakistan, and I worked with her at Harvard. She was a student, and I didn't find her completely qualified to be anything other than a corrupt politician. It turned out that her father was executed by the ISI, and her husband was put in prison 11 years. So you're talking about a corrupt government putting in corrupt people in a corrupt prison, and then eventually assassinating Benazir Bhutto. What's the real issue in this problem? The problem isn't only between Pakistan and Afghanistan, it's also between India and Pakistan. The war between India and Pakistan has been going on for about 75 years. The line of Durand, which was created between Pakistan and Afghanistan in the 1890s, was equally created by another area of conflict, and that was called Kashmir, which is between Pakistan and India. And there, they've been fighting for 75 years, every day of the year. In other words, they've been fighting all the time. So for us to put in any number of troops, either 100,000 troops as we did in 2011, 30,000 NATO troops, and 10,000 Brits was totally useless. It was a waste of time, money, and unfortunately brave warriors. At the same time, we will waste again more people, more money, and we're talking about trillions and trillions of dollars. As we go to India, we have a civil society which is run by a very effective man by the name of Modi. It is a republic. It's one of the largest democracies in the world, and they in turn have had this conflict with Pakistan, but interestingly enough, they are now having a conflict with China. Now, the reason that's important is because north of India, there's Bhutan, a small country, which is on the Himalayan and has snow, which converted into water for China in the Yangtze and Yellow River, and also the water is converted for the Ganges River in India. So China is fighting India as of last week. China supports Pakistan. Iran attacks Afghanistan. And we, in turn, are putting pressure on China for North Korea. And our CINCPAC is putting pressure on China, and Japan is putting pressure on China. But if you look at a little country called Vietnam, it showed us the huge empire that we are, that we couldn't even win that war for 10 years. We lost 50,000 men, and 250,000 were wounded. So for as long as Pax Americana continues, and our generals have no strategy, our presidents have no idea what they're doing, and the CIA constantly creates strategic tension, we will fail as a country. Instead, we have to focus back in on our infrastructure, on our tax regulation. In the words of Voltaire, the famous French philosopher, the Holy Roman Empire was neither holy nor Roman nor an empire. We are not an American empire. We are not either American as an empire or we are an empire. We're in 722 bases in 277 countries. God help us. Hi, this is Dr. Steve Pachenik, and this is Steve Talks.